Hey, what is up? We are live. This is the Leafs Convo podcast for Oak Ridge Ford in London, Ontario. OakRidgeFord.com. I'm Norman London, along with my podcast partner in crime, dating back almost 10 years now, maybe a little more than that, the one and only Michael Piagello in Cheektowaga, New York. It is Sunday, April 18th. The Leafs have 12 games to play in this crazy regular season, including tonight's affair in Vancouver. We welcome back to the league the Vancouver Canucks. Not all of them, some of them. And I don't know if this is a recipe for a win for the Maple Leafs, who've lost 3 straight, but we've seen them fall to worse teams at worse times. So I suppose anything goes tonight. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Norma. As my very cynical brother, more cynical than I am, said to me yesterday, you watch, Vancouver is operating at 50%. Thatcher Demko is not playing tonight, and they'll kick the Leafs' butts.
And did you hear who's starting in net for the Canucks?
Well, it's got to be Holtby.
No, it's David Ayers.
Yeah, there you go. But this is the thing. I mean, I have all the sympathy in the world for the Canucks, and honestly, I don't know why the NHL. I do know the reason why, but I don't know why they didn't have the good sense to let them forfeit the games that they can't make up instead of packing in. I think it's 16 or 17 games. I think that's how much they have left in the span of less than a month. It's going to be obscene. But that's what they're going to do because I think it's hockey-related revenue, advertising money, and that's the whole motivation. You know, the PA and the owners are on the same side here because if they don't play the games, then that's money lost, and that's money lost for both sides, and that's more to escrow and all those things. So that's the reason why. But I feel sorry for the Canucks who are coming out of apparently the variant of COVID. Travis Green got it. A number of their key players got it. And I just can't imagine they're going to be really energized to play tonight, but they have a job and they have to go to it. So the Leafs better not take them lightly. Right now, the race in the North Division is getting closer by the minute, and the Leafs need to win these 2 games in Vancouver.
I guess it really doesn't matter who the Leafs play at this point, Mike, as long as they hone their tactics.
Well, yeah, yes and no. I mean, okay, these 2 games I think are a must 4 points. You've got a team that is coming back after a long layoff. They're rusty. They're ill. They probably shouldn't be playing. The Leafs, can't really have sympathy for them. I mean, they do, I'm sure, personally, but they really can't have sympathy for them as an opponent. They have to step on their neck and kill them.
My point, though, if the Leafs win 10-8, what's the point? What's the point of that?
Well,
if they win, if they beat them 4-0 and score 3 power play goals, and play 200-foot hockey and play responsibly, play this game as if it is a pseudo practice in preparation for what's to come, then that's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, you don't want them playing shinny. You don't want them playing wide open Edmonton Oilers irresponsible hockey. You want them to play the type of hockey that they played for most of the year. But I think the focus this week is, and maybe hopefully it's not like one of these things where it's a trap game or trap games like you see in the NFL all the time, where they're looking past these games to Winnipeg, to 2 key games later in the week. They need to win. They need these 4 points against Vancouver, because now Winnipeg is only 3 points behind them. They lost last night to Edmonton, but they need, if they want to finish first in the North, and I don't know how much motivation there is for that, but you would think that leading that division all year, they would be motivated to do that they need to get their game in order. And as you said, their power play, especially, in order. The power play has cost them three of a possible 4 points in the last 2 games. They had a chance to on the power play, a double minor in the 3rd period against Calgary. It was a hideous man advantage for 4 minutes, and then they had a chance to step on the neck of the Jets in the 1st period after they were leading 1-0 with a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 12 seconds, and I think they had 1 good scoring chance. Their power play has been abysmal lately.
Akin Zeki's with us from Cyprus. Good to have you, sir. Ken J. Brott, good job. You two keep up the good work. Ken, you are an unfamiliar name. I don't know if you've been with us for quite some time, but thank you very much for introducing yourself. OG's Converts. If you're watching, you can take part in the chat. Just let us know what you want to say. Keep it clean, and we shall add it.
And is it 34 degrees Celsius or 34 degrees Fahrenheit in Cyprus?
I don't know. You take a guess, Mike. I mean, weren't you a geography major in community college?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's Celsius.
Canisius College?
No. Please, I didn't have to take out a second mortgage to go to Canisius College.
I had a scholarship to Canisius College, and I turned it down.
They have a good baseball program. Yeah. So
it was awesome. It was the turf infield and then the grass outfield.
It says Celsius. I'm in the Mediterranean, bro.
No. He is. Hey, you know, the Leafs converts and OGs are all over the planet. So the power play, we talk about it every single show. And it, like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. That is what's happening right now. No one seems to be able to understand why this is such an anemic process. It's hurt the team during the regular season. Just imagine how good the Leafs could be and how far apart they may have been able to put themselves from the rest of the pack had this power play functioned as well as it should have with the personnel involved. If this continues into the playoffs, the failure of the power play will be fatal for the Maple Leafs. They will not win a Stanley Cup with this group, which you, on paper, you could consider a conceivable winner. But it doesn't matter how many good players are on paper and how well they function throughout 5-on-5. If they do not deliver on the power play, this group won't win the Stanley Cup.
Well, the alternate form of insanity is to change things constantly and have the same result. And that's sort of like what they're doing. I mean, they're changing structure, they're changing personnel, they're changing different entries into the zone, they're dumping in, they're trying everything and nothing is working. And it's gotten to the point now where the media doesn't ask the players about the power play anymore because they've asked them about the power play every day. And really they're getting the same answers because they're getting the same results. I mean, what they just need right now is sort of just a lucky break, a drifting shot from the point gets through, infuses them with confidence and gets the ball rolling. Because right now, I don't know, it just seems like they just can't break through on that power play.
Gage and TV. Konnichiwa from a Leaf fan in Japan. Konnichiwa. Ruben Kincaid. Howdy, folks. Our good friend Cottis one. Good morning, guys. There is an OG convert from day one. This gentleman, thank you very much for all of your support, my friend. We do this for people like Cottis who have been with us since, 2018, since we established ourselves on YouTube. So the William Nylander respite, his convalescence, seems like it's about to end. He practiced with the team along with Austin Matthews.
Right.
Are we to expect these guys in the lineup tonight against the Nucks?
I would think so. I mean, Nylander clarified what occurred with him. He said that he never tested positive, that somebody he knows tested positive, and he isolated himself. I think it was for 9 days. Tested negative 9 times, so he's cleared. Now it's just simply a question. He had an exercise bike in his pad in Toronto, so he at least would keep his cardio up. But obviously, there's going to be a drop off in his conditioning, sitting relatively sedentary for that time. I think he'll get in, but I think they may monitor his minutes. As for Matthews, the funny thing is that there is a little bit of a thought out there that the league, and even Sheldon Keefe started to talk about this, that they would down the stretch maybe start to rest players, load management, so to speak. Kawhi Leonard load management, the NBA all the time, and you probably the analytics people see a positive about load management. But they said Matthews had a similar but not the same reoccurrence of his wrist injury. There's been some talk that, okay, did they give him load management? I don't think they did, because the game they're going to not give him load management in is against Winnipeg, where they have a chance to ice away the division. So I think maybe he tweaked his wrist, but he practiced yesterday in Vancouver. It sounds like he's going to be good to go, but Sheldon Keefe reserved his right to change his mind, or reserved his right based on how Matthews is feeling. But I think you'll probably see both of them in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, the Maple Leafs have a game in hand on the Jets, up by 3 points. They play Winnipeg
3 more times. All in Winnipeg. And because of the change of the schedule this week, it was okay. This was what the schedule was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Saturday, Monday in Vancouver. Then it was supposed to be Wednesday, Friday, Saturday in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. Now it's Sunday, Tuesday in Vancouver, Thursday, Saturday in Winnipeg, and then the third Winnipeg game has been moved to May the 14th. So they spread it out a little bit. That's not a big change, but they have to go back to Winnipeg one more time at the end of the year, and that might be a game where like the Taxi Squad and the Toronto Marlies and David Ayres will play, because it may be meaningless if they're up by more than a few points for first place.
Is a division win more than superficial? Does it mean something to be able to raise a banner in front of 15 people at Scotiabank Arena?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. It depends on who you want to play. And obviously a team is not going to say, ooh, we want to play Edmonton. They're going to say, we want to finish in first place because it's an accomplishment, because that shows that we've had success this year. Do they want to play Montreal in the first round over Winnipeg or Edmonton? I don't know. But I think they're just going to say, you know what, let's win the division and let's leave it up to chance. It's the fourth place is likely going to be Montreal. That might be a good matchup. It might be a bad matchup. You're going to have to get through two teams to get to the semifinals. So, you're eventually going to play Edmonton or Winnipeg or Montreal, depending on how things break. So just win the division. But I think what they're going to do, and like I said, Sheldon Keefe sort of hinted at this, is that they're going to give some players a day, a game, here or there, to give them a little rest. Tavares, Marner, Hyman, who they log major minutes. Maybe some of the veterans like Thornton and Simmons, give them a little bit of a blow. So Morgan Riley and Brody, just a little bit, get Ben Hutton in there. I think that is going to be what they do down the stretch. And the other thing that was interesting over the last couple days was Frederik Andersen skating before practice, both in Toronto and in Vancouver. Now, Sheldon Keefe said he's nowhere close, and I buy that. And I think it was Elliot Friedman who talked about their inability to activate Andersen until after the regular season, because they simply don't have the cap room. They put him on LTIR to add Foligno, to add Rittich, to add Hutton, and all these other players. They would need another $2 to $2.5 million in cap space to activate Andersen before the end of the regular season. That's why I think you will not see him unless somebody else goes on LTIR. You will not see Andersen until the playoffs, and probably as the backup to Jack Campbell to start the playoffs.
This is the Leafs Convo for Oak Ridge Ford. I'm Norm, along with Mike. Thanks for everyone's participation. The show will expand once it hits YouTube in full. And the OGs and converts will certainly run with it. Oak Ridge Ford right now, 0% on Ford Escape through 72 months. There's some nice discount off the top of that MSRP. If you know anybody, send them my way. You get referral money, and I'll throw in a Leafs Combo hoodie to boot. Look, the Leafs have been unable to make it past the first round in this new generation of talent, this new era. And I think that's the clear goal, to get past the first round. Cherry picking or hoping for a particular opponent really doesn't mean anything to me. Whether they finish first or second, whomever they play, they have to beat. And if you're confident in your overall game and you believe that you can be there through 4 rounds and be, among the last 2 teams standing, then you should be indifferent to the competition you face in, the early going and the late going. So at this, especially in this crazy season, the goal again, and I'm very repetitive in stating this, but it's just true, is to get things aligned properly in order to prepare right for the big dance. And there is a great unknown to it when compared to seasons past. But if this team's confident in its ability to execute and be better than it's been before, then it really shouldn't matter who the first round opponent is, nor the second round, third round, and who they might face in the finals if they can get there.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is sort of to get their house in order, not only the power play, but their forward line combinations. Foligno is going to be available at, I believe, by Thursday for the game against Winnipeg. Now, I don't know if he'll immediately get in there right away because, again, he's been sitting around for 7 days through quarantine, but I think they'll probably be anxious to get him in there. Whatever line they're going to put him with, I personally think it's going to be with Tavares and Nylander, but we'll see. But yeah, get the forward lines, get some of the players who have not played in there. Keith hinted at possibility of Rasmus Sandin getting a look. Maybe that's the day they give Bogosian a day off or Dermott a day off. So get things in order. But as you're talking about in terms of winning the division, well, I mean, it's nice. It's a feather in the cap, but home ice advantage is non-existent this year because there are no fans. And Ruben Kincaid in the chat is saying, are the Leafs allowed to cross provincial borders? They are because they have a waiver from the Canadian government. But the report that Elliot Friedman talked about yesterday, or the indication that he made yesterday on Saturday Headlines, I think has to give a little bit of a shock to some of the Canadian teams, because they ideally want to play in their own buildings. Even though there are no fans there, they want to play in their own buildings. And the way COVID is spreading in Canada right now, unfortunately, there is at least the option is going to be there for them to bubble the Canadian teams for the playoffs for the first two rounds. Because remember, if they go to Canada to the U.S., I don't believe there's a quarantine coming to the U.S. I think they could just simply play, but obviously you can't go. U.S. teams can't go back to Canada. So the Canadian teams, when one of them gets to the third round, they're going to be basically playing in a host U.S. city. So say the Leafs play the Islanders in the semifinals, then the host city would probably be Buffalo. If the Leafs played Vegas, then it could be Arizona. It could be, a city in the U.S. close or relatively close to the team that they're playing against. And that city will play host to the Leafs as far as they go if they go to the Stanley Cup final. So it's not going to be in Canada. And then Elliot Friedman said yesterday, based on the way COVID's going up, they may have all four teams go to a bubble city in the U.S. to prevent the disaster scenario of something like just happened with Vancouver. I mean, the NHL cannot have a team fall prey to COVID in the playoffs. It would be a complete, utter disaster. And I've been advocating, and I know this is probably unpopular in Canada, but that the NHL should buy the vaccine from Pfizer or Moderna and ship it to the 7 Canadian teams and have everybody vaccinated, because if they're going to stay in Canada and travel in Canada and the COVID rate is blowing up, it's not taking away from the Canadian pool of vaccines. It's being bought from U.S. sources. So I don't see why there'd be a problem, but I know I brought this up and a lot of people think that it would be a big problem.
I don't know. Thinking outside of the box. What do you guys want? Do you want hockey to go as smooth as possible in these unique times? Or are we just to go with the flow of spiking numbers and hot spots and clogged up border or travel, prohibited border travel due to the U.S. and Canada being in different stages of battling this pandemic? What do you want, right? OG's Converse, you can talk about it in the comments below this post on YouTube. You can continue the conversation with Mike and myself on other social media platforms. We all want hockey to be played. We all want this regular season to conclude and the playoffs to follow it, and then have a Stanley Cup championship round with the Maple Leafs involved, and other fans of their own teams want the same thing. We all knew this wasn't going to go as smooth as seasons past because we are living in a pandemic. So the idea of a bubble city, or host cities, or teams not allowed to cross borders, I mean, they're all things we have to contend with. And for as frustrating as it is as fans to have to endure this or accept it, we wanted hockey in this era right now. So these are the things that we are going to have to grin and bear. It's not, Mike, it's not easy. I mean, we can all sit on social media and Facebook and go on about how these guys are making stupid decisions, or where our rights are being infringed upon due to cases going through the roof in a particular area. But what if are you like, do you want to make the decisions for millions of people? I mean, look, I'm not saying they did it right in the US throughout, or in Canada throughout, but this isn't an easy time, and we're trying to play this bloody game of hockey that's just really trivial at the end of it when you think about it compared to everything else going on. So,
well, I mean, it's trivial in terms of you and I and other people being fans, but to the league, it's a business, and to the players,
understood.
And to the players, it's a business. And if there's one group that doesn't want to go into a playoff bubble, it's the players. The players want to play in their own buildings.
Sure.
They want to stay with their families. I think that I know that when the Vancouver thing first started, the NHL sent out a missive to the 31 teams regarding players maybe starting to get lax about COVID restrictions. I think the Vancouver thing has probably snapped them back into reality, and especially in Canada. I mean, really, you can't do anything right now. I mean, unfortunately, it's blowing up, and I hate it because, I love Canada. I'd love to be in Canada, cross the border, go up and cover Leaf games. Right now, it's just not a reality. And I hope everybody in Canada gets the vaccine as soon as possible. I just got my second shot on Thursday. Thank God. And this has been a horrible 13 months. But the NHL has to have a way to come through it, and I think that the only way they can come through it, maybe if they have to resort to this, is possibly going into a playoff bubble. But that isn't going to start until the middle of May, so that's another month at least. So maybe the situation begins to go in a positive direction in the next month, and they won't have to resort to the disaster scenario.
You have to physically transport players across the border. And this is not easy when you have, again, two countries dealing with this pandemic at different stages and are in, at different levels of fighting it, and are really just not on the same page. And that's just the way it goes. The U.S. is a bigger country. You guys had an immensely tough time with the pandemic for the bulk of it, but getting vaccines, things like that, are allowing people to take a little bit more of a breath of relief. And here in Canada, where we thought we may have had this thing licked, now we're having to endure this third wave, and it's certainly not fun. Traditionally, the NHL operating in two countries had all sorts of entanglements, economical entanglements, social, dealing with different governments and how they, view the world, and how they want to be able to, oversee the operation. And now we're dealing with something that, is far beyond that. with much more impact. So we just have to get through it. I mean, again, going back to the original point here is we all wanted hockey. So to have hockey in these times as fans, we're just going to have to accept that it's not normal. And, from the NHL's perspective, this is a business capable of running not normally, but still functioning throughout. It's going to have to do what it believes is right to not only keep its players safe, to not only keep some money, coming into the enterprise, but ultimately get through the damn season and have a team hoist the Stanley Cup, and then it's on to whatever else we're going to face in the future. Will85, thanks for being here. Feedback for you today. That's an interesting name. Alan Gorchikov. Who else do we have in the chat right now? Last of Us Clips is here. We have Jeff Komaransky.
Yeah, good look. Feedback has an interesting question, though.
Timberwolves here, too.
He says, Toronto versus Montreal, Edmonton versus Winnipeg in the first round, there'll be minimal travel. Yeah, but there's right now, Ontario and Quebec, there's basically a border shutdown. So, but the NHL teams have a special permission. They're I guess they're considered essential. So, but he says then do a Final Four bubble in the U.S. like a Super Bowl. Well, that they're not going to do that because right now, most of the venues in the NHL have fans up to 10 to 20% at least. It's probably going to increase by June. So they want, say it's Vegas in the West, Tampa in the Central, and the Islanders in the East. All of them can have fans. So they're not going to bubble them in one city and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in ticket revenue. They're going to have them play. And the thing is, if Toronto is the team, or whoever the team is from the Canadian division, from the North Division, if it's Toronto and they play in Buffalo, I'm sure a lot of Leaf fans from Ontario are going to come down to the U.S. and probably stay for a couple weeks to go to Leaf playoff games, because then they would have to quarantine once they go back. But I believe they wouldn't have to, they would be able to go to games and buy tickets. And you know how it was back in '99, Norm, when the Leafs played the Sabres. If I had season tickets for the Sabres back then, I could have been a millionaire. So, I mean, Leaf Nation will travel. And will they travel into the U.S. for Leaf playoff games? Yeah, they will.
I don't know what else you want to add to this Sunday not so spectacular. We're down the stretch now on the regular season. Leafs playing Vancouver tonight. It should be 2 points for the Buds. I'd like to see them collect that 2 points in a responsible way, tweaking the game appropriately, knowing that the playoffs are on the horizon and that this team really needs to be running at full capacity and properly to do any damage in the the big dance. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here, Mike?
Just on a different page, anybody who doubted Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as a superstar in baseball, all he needed to do was lose some of his baby fat and look at the way he's playing this year so far. But you can't make judgments on 14 or 15 games in terms of what the fortunes are going to be for a particular team. The Blue Jays actually have been playing pretty well, but they're pitching. They've lost guys in their bullpen. I don't have any confidence in the rotation. And right now the Yankees are playing like crap. They're not getting good pitching out of anybody other than Garrett Cole. So it's early, but I think that the returns on guys like Bichette and Guerrero are a reason for Blue Jays fans to have confidence.
But the Jays are building. They're building a team that's going to legitimately contend for some time. Like with that core, you can't not put yourself in position to contend. For as essential pitching is to the ultimate goal of success, you can still piecemeal it putting together a bullpen throughout the season, finding out which players or which pitchers fill roles properly as you go along. I mean, having guys just starters become middle relievers. You can acquire pitchers at the deadline to help get you through. At the core, I mean, you do need to have 3-4 starters you can rely on, and know they're going to give you at least enough innings to get you to a good juncture of the game where someone else can take the baton. But Mike, again, this group hasn't been put together. It's not by chance. This was part of the process when Shapkins deconstructed the teams after 2016. So the Jays are going to be a force to be reckoned with for a considerable period of time in the AL East and beyond. It's a process. So yeah, the pitching is taking a bit of a hit, but if this team can bash its way to wins mostly, the management will have to decide whether the time is now to add enough pieces to go on some legitimate run, or add things over time, believing that, hey, our ceiling is 2026, but we're going to really start to take a run at things in 2022 if we can make it this year. It's just all part of the plan. But you don't get that. You don't have that core of talent just to watch it wither away and move to other markets at some point. There's a plan in place to try to make things happen, and injuries are all a part of it, and we'll see how it comes together. Mike, you do great at work at hockeybuzz.com. We appreciate everything you do there. We thank Eklund for allowing us to add our Leafs Convo links to his platform. So send him that personal thanks from me. These are good times for as shitty as they are. These are good times for us as OGs and converts and members of the Leafs Convo community, because we're thriving and having a lot of fun and talking about the team we love so much in these this crazy environment that is the pandemic. But we'll push forward, and maybe down the line we'll be doing Leafs Convo season 10, looking back on how things happened this year and how the Leafs won in this asterisk-ridden season, and then won a whole bunch of legitimate championships after that. Mike, thanks for your time, brother.
Thanks, Norm.